Accolade the leader, Angel's Shadow. Gemini Risk is back to third. Locksmont Yoga coming up on the inside. He's now fourth. Then Ruckus and GT Spirit, they come springing for home. Winners Accolade and Angel's Shadow and Gemini Risk. It is Winners Accolade on the inside. Gemini Risk coming up on the outside. Angel's Shadow between them, and here they are to the wire. Three of them neck and neck. It's too tight to call, and we'll need a photo.
Welcome to another edition of the History of EPR. My name is Scott Bernard. This is a very interesting episode we're going to do today. We're actually going to focus on something a little different. It's going to be on the families of EPR. I have a few guests coming up here soon enough. We'll make it a little surprise. This was actually recorded over multiple days and edited together. But it's kind of a fun thing. We're going to have sons, fathers. Mostly the sons are going to be on, but we're going to talk about them getting into racing, memories of when they first started going, what made them want to race. In my case, what made me not want to race. So yeah, that's how we're going to go about it. So I'm going to have some guests here in a little bit, but I'm going to actually start with myself, by myself. No one's going to be asking me questions. And most of you know my background, but my father, Terry Bernard, raced in EPR from 1975 until 1985. And then he ended up going to the United States, the Meadowlands, to Florida, upstate New York. I've heard all the stories from numerous people. So what I'm going to do in this situation is kind of just like background me a little bit. I was a fan right away, instantly. I think I was basically born into the sport. I was named after Scotch Goman. My grandfather owned horses, as everyone would know. My godfather was Bill Nicholson. So let's just say it was kind of in my blood right away. And my first memories of pretty much life is being at EPR, standing by the fence with all the other kids, watching races, waiting for my father to win a race. There's actually a pretty funny race. It's actually the same date that I'm going to show a race here in a moment that he actually wins. I forget the horse. He had Match Jet going like later. The other race, not the race. He won with Jessam's Creek, but there was a later race 11 in the same card. He's with Match Jet and Wally. I forget who Wally has, but they're going pretty close to the end. And my father's creeping up. He's in second. He's getting close to first. And if you look real close at the fence, you see this little kid who's probably 5, 6, maybe I want to say 6 years old, jumping up and down like a maniac. And that kid is definitely me. And I'm pretty sure Tim Ryan, my uncle's with me, standing there, because I vividly remember being a child and when my father raced. And by the time I went to see him, it would have been like I went to Frankton with him a few times. I do vividly remember one time him waking me up in the trailer to go out to the races. Like he was going to race, so take me out of the trailer, and I was not a happy camper. I vividly remember being really mad that he was waking me up. I was very, very cranky, and I was a bit of a cranky kid. And so that's my first real memory of it. But I do remember EPR. I remember waiting for him to race. And he'd race. Sometimes he wouldn't race at all. I mean, there was times that he wouldn't race at all day. He was mostly doing training at that point. So, I mean, there'd be Saturdays he wouldn't race at all. But when he did race, it was an event for me. You know, he was my first big hero. I mean, and, you know, after that was probably Marcel or Wally pretty quickly. But waiting for him to race and waiting for him to win was a huge deal to me as a kid. And quick story, I think it would have been June of 84 or 85. I'm still looking for this race, by the way. If anyone has it, let me know because I really want to see it. I remember it was the summer. And being at the track, I don't know what race it was. I can't remember that far back, but him racing and winning. And me running like somebody was chasing me. I was running. I think I was up in the grandstand. I ran so fast down them stairs to get to the winner's circle with him. And it was a pretty big deal to me. So, yeah. So I'm going to go through here. I'm going to actually show a race right now. This is Jessam's Creek, December 22nd, 1984. It's actually race 1. So you're going to see him here, kind of introducing the card real quick. And yeah, so race 1, Jessam's Creek, my father, Terry Bernard, driving, and then we'll jump into some pictures and we'll bring the first guest on. So here it is.
Hope you enjoy our show. Coming to you here on Cable 6. Let's go then with race number 1. It's Saturday, December the 22nd, 101st day of racing at EPR, first race, top of the stretch. Field of 8, Shy Scotch Grass. Glittering Bird, Wayne Mahar, Whiskey Man, Tom Mason, Jolly Good Time, Steve Mahar. Rum Joe and Charlie Ross, Fresh Lass, Ivan Davies, Hunter Hill Jason, Colleen Clancy, Jessamine Creek with Terry Bernard, Astounding and Clark Smith, and here they come. They're off in jolly good time. He goes pacing to the top. Hunter Hill Jason's up on the outside, now challenging second. Up on the inside and racing third. It is round that turn. It is jolly good time pacing on top, and that's Glittering Bird racing second now on the outside, 3 wide. Jessamine Creek going on. Jessamine Creek bids 4, and she takes the lead. Then Jolly Good Time is second. Glittering Bird third. Hunter Hill Jason is a fourth. Then Whiskey Man is racing a fifth as they go racing on by the quarter in 33 and 2. They are rid of the top turn, pacing out on top. Jessamine Creek leads by 2. Jolly Good Time is racing second. Glittering Bird now up on the outside. Whiskey Man comes to fourth. Hunter Hill Jason is fifth on the rail. Now they come swinging off the top turn now and on through the stretch. They're racing for the half. Up front, cutting it out, Jessamine Creek and Jolly Good Time lays second. Glittering Bird out to challenge for third. Whiskey Man is outside fourth. Hunter Hill Jason racing fifth. Then it is a Rum Joe Fresh Lass moves up on the outside. Astounding trails. They're by the half in 8 and 2. Racing on into the turn. They race now for the 5/8. Jessamine Creek on top. Racing second up the leaders will Glittering Bird. Jolly Good Time is third. And then Whiskey Man fourth. Hunter Hill Jason is fifth. Then it is Rum Joe Fresh Lass and Astounding. And it's on to the 3/4 and the leader still, Jessamine Creek. And up strong on the outside, Whiskey Man driving on. He gets to second. Glittering Bird is third. Jolly Good Time moving fourth as they go racing out by the 3/4 by the marker 42 and 3. They spring into the top turn. Jessamine Creek still the leader. Whiskey Man is second. Jolly Good Time. Then up on the outside, Fresh Lass, Glittering Bird. Then Rum Joe, Hunter Hill Jason, and Astounding's on the run. They come swinging for home. Jessamine Creek is the leader moving away. Jessamine Creek and then Whiskey Man racing second. Then Fresh Lass is now third. Jolly Good Time fourth. Here they are, coming to the wire. It is Jessamine Creek, then Whiskey Man, Fresh Lass, and Jolly Good Time with the mile in 2:17 and 1. And parading now the winner of the first race, number 8, Jessamine Creek, Bay Pacing mare, 6 years, by Skipper Creek from Pooh Brown. On for Hugh McDonald Jr. of St. John. Trained by Robert Kraft. Terry Bernard catch driving this afternoon. That's the 13th winning trip this year for the mare. This afternoon, 2:17 and 1.
So that was Jessamine Creek, December 22nd, 1984. Pretty much leading the whole race. It's funny because, as everyone knows, I put tapes up nonstop. When I recorded that, usually when I record tapes, I don't put the sound on because it echoes a lot. It causes some issues with the recording part of it. So I leave that. I don't even, I just basically, I keep it on mute. And I'll have my laptop in front of me a lot of the time, and I'll be playing like video games or, watching TV or doing something. Anyway, I remember recording that race, and this is all the tapes that Twyla and Steve Mahar had lent me to record. And I had been recording tapes for like 2 weeks straight, I think. I went a little nuts with them. And I had learned, from racing itself, but I haven't been around a long time, that when you go to the front the first half, you're not going to be at the front at the end most of the time. So I'm watching that race, and I know my dad from his colors, and I'm seeing him at the front. I'm like, oh, there's no way. He'll finish like 6th or something. And so I look down, and it's, the 3/4 mark, and he's still in front. I'm like, oh, look at that. And then I'm starting to kind of root on like I'm there. I'm starting to kind of cheer for him and stuff to win. It was really cool to see him win because, I'd seen some races with him, and, he didn't have the best horses. He was more occupied with training and stuff like that. And, it was really cool to see him win. The funny thing about that was I was like, where am I at? Because he comes to the winner's circle. I'm not there. I'm thinking like, that's awful strange because let's say I was a huge fan of my father growing up as a child. So I was surprised I wasn't there with him. But who knows? It was the first race. I could have been late. It was around Christmas time. I might not have been there for any other reason. But yeah, it was a really cool race. So I'm going to drop some pictures up here real quick of him. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot. I lost pictures over the years. There was a really cool picture of me and him we were in the barn area. I would have been like, I think like maybe 3 or 4, and he's helping me. I'm helping him sweep or something like that. But I lost pictures over the years. I moved like 65 times, so that's probably part of the reason why. But anyway, let's go through a few pictures. I had the first one here, Commander Irving, which was a real good horse that he had. That was up in Prince of Rhode Island. I think it was in 81. They went up there for a stake race, and he ended up selling that in the United States. There's another picture of Commander Irving right here. You know, that we have my dad at the head of the horse. We have Bruce Maxwell, the famous Bruce Maxwell, right at the ass of the horse. God bless Bruce. He's a great guy. But that's that's kind of a cool picture. And I don't have it there, but that's my birthday. I think that's my second or third birthday. It was April 17th, I think, 81. That's a pretty cool picture. This one here, Malibu River. I don't know if that's the name of that horse. I want to think that's wrong. But this is taken in Fredericton. And a really cool story about this picture. Before I really got back into really into the racing again and getting into the history of it, because I can get into that real quick. I was one day I was just got up and I was on my phone and looking through Facebook, and I got a notification, and I was tagged in a post. I was like, oh, I clicked on it and I see this, and I was just like, woof. Talk about mind blowing. Like, that was just like, that blew my mind when I seen this picture. I couldn't believe it. Because again, I don't really have a whole lot of pictures of him, so that was just like mind-boggling to me that got that. So let's go a little bit later in his career. We're gonna go up to New York. This one here, he's a trainer. The new I forget the name of the horse. Pressure Point. This would have been July 31st, 1994. And as you can see, he's at the far left there. You're right, whatever you want to call it. His style's kind of dropping off a little bit there. I don't know what's going on with them black socks and shorts, but not the power to him. Definitely doing well up there training down in the New York and the Meadowlands and stuff like that. I know that he was well respected from a lot of guys. I went with Daryl Pierce there a few weeks ago for dinner, and Daryl had a lot of nice things to say about my father, so I definitely appreciate that. Everyone has. Everyone that's messaged me hasn't said a bad word, and I believe it. A lot of times, people are nice to people that are no longer with us, but I believe that a lot of people sincerely believe that my father was a good man. So definitely the nice words are very much appreciated. It makes me feel good inside. And we have here, this is in Richard LaBelle. This would have been Meadowlands, and I can't see the date. I want to think it's June 1st, 94 in the Meadowlands. And he's over there on the right-hand side. So, yeah, unfortunately, he did pass away in 1998, like most of you know. Really young, 47, so that's too bad. But definitely had an impact on me as a kid. I was a dad's boy for sure. I went to the track all the time. I used to sneak back to the barns when I wasn't supposed to. Funny story, I think some people heard this one, that my mother would tell me, do not go to the barns. God bless my grandfather. He used to spoil us all rotten. We go to the track, and he would go to into the bar, and I should be playing pinball or hanging down at the bottom, but I would sneak over to the barns, and I do it all the time, I think. Anyway, I'm over the barns one day, and I can't remember who it was, but someone let me grab a bike to pull back. It's winter time, and I'm just excited to be back there because I loved it so much. So I'm pushing the bike, and I remember slipping and falling on ice, and the end of the bike hit me in the chin. Blood goes everywhere. I was not a fan of blood as a kid. I flip out. They take me to the ambulance. They call my grandfather down to come get me. And I don't remember the rest after that, but I remember he brings me up to the bar, and I'm fine. And he says to me on the way home, whatever you do, if they ask what happened, you fell in the grandstand and hit your chin. So we're driving home. I think we're going to his house, my grandparents' house, and they used to all be there. And the whole time he's drilling me in the car. What happened? I was running the grandstand. I fell and hit my chin. And I don't think I was that convincing when I came in the house. I'm pretty sure they knew, because I would assume they would know because everyone knew my mother. Because my father, everyone knew my family down there. So I would think someone at the barns would have said, Scott fell and hit his chin. But no, it was a big thing to me. And as I got older, I kind of veered away from it a little bit. Always had respect for it. Always would come up, even as a teenager when I was more into music and girls and, stuff like that. I would always go back up and see everybody on exhibition week because, they were all so good to me, right? They just all want me to make picks for them, which I found very odd. I must have done something right as a child, but yeah, definitely. And I mean, now as I'm older, reminiscing a lot more, seeing all these old tapes, which I love the old tapes. I'm always hunting and stuff, right? So Good memories. It's too. We definitely want to get to. It's gonna be hard to get to where it used to be, and it might not get to where it used to be, but we're all working at it and doing our best. I'm definitely letting people know that's down there, because as people say, EPR is St. John's best kept secret. So, but for the time being, that's the end of my part, and I'm going to bring on my next guest, which is Kyle Mason. We're going to get him in here in just a moment and kind of go over his history a little bit about it. So yeah, we'll see you soon there. All right, everybody. So we have our first guest tonight. That's going to be Kyle Mason. This is Steve Mason's son. So I have him on the stream here. I'm going to bring him right in right now. So there he is. Hey, Kyle, how you doing?
Not too bad, Scott. Thanks for having me on here.
No problem. It's a pleasure. I'm glad you came on. So I'll just kind of jump right in, man. Like, so you were born basically into harness racing. What was like your first memories of it?
I guess really it'd be going to the track on Saturdays and stuff with Dad, and then like I'm sure there's probably some early memories too of like going out and jogging and sitting on his lap and everything and stuff. But it was always like Saturday mornings going to the track, and I remember I'd work my ass off all day, and I'd end up getting paid a toonie at the end of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think I was the kind of the same way as a kid. I basically was just like, go any chance that I got to go to the track, I was there.
No, for sure.
Yeah. I was when I did my introduction, I did a little thing on myself. I recorded earlier. I used to go back and like just beg someone to let me like pull the bike, anything. It didn't matter at all, right? Like we're basically like child labor, pretty much, right? So they're just like, yeah, let them do something, kind of thing. So,
well, I mean, like even too, I remember when I knew that I was going to be like really invested in it was my mom and dad. They put me in soccer, and then I ended up I made it to like 5 or 6 games out of like the 25 because I ended up going to Ontario for a couple of weeks with mom, and then at the same time, like I was every single game was on like a Saturday or something. I'd skip that, go to the track, or go away to Charlottetown, go away to Truro or whatever and stuff with Dad and everything. So
yeah, it's basically invested in our blood. I mean, and a lot of us, like this industry has so many families. I was actually thinking about it today. Like, you got like the Mahars, you got the Barrios, you got the Nicholsons. I know I'm missing like a ton of people already, right? But just off the top of my head. So from early age, I was just looking here, like for your notes. So you wanted to be a driver pretty much right away. It was pretty much quickly.
I mean, at least involved in horses. Like it's funny, like when I was in high school and university and stuff, like I just loved being around them, and it was kind of one of those things. Like I was always saying, or at least Dad was kind of talking to me about it, that you can always come back to this in whatever capacity you want to, whether you want to start driving someday, whether you want to have a couple of claimers or whatever of your own, or whether you want to go and buy in on a few horses eventually. But he was really wanted to maintain the focus that like my education was going to come first, and then I could come back to it after the fact and everything if I saw it fit.
Yeah. So I was going to ask that question. So your dad was okay with you coming into it, like driving and stuff, once you decide to do it. Like, so I know some parents, I don't know about all, but I know some of them kind of like, unfortunately, I don't want to be negative about it. We see how the industry's become now in the Maritimes, where it's not unfortunately, a lot of money. He was okay with you going into it and driving and stuff?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I was like when I decided that I wanted to do it, I was like in my mid-20s and everything, so I could say, hey, like regardless of if you want me to do this or not, I'm probably going to still try and do it. But like his encouragement was a really big help, and it was like a big help in like getting myself started and everything, and like especially like there's not many people like you can go and like if it's the 10th race on Wednesday night at Summerside, like Dad's right there by the phone because I'm going to pick it up and give him a call, and we're going to talk about the drive and everything and stuff.
Exactly. Do you remember your first race?
Yeah, like there was my first races. I remember I was in Summerside, and I'm quite sure I had the 7-hole with both horses that I was out with and everything. And I ended up like not really getting around so hot and everything and stuff, but it kind of started to come together like the next couple of weeks after that.
Right on. That's awesome. So I have a video right now. Actually, it's your father's horse, Steve B. Down, the Governor's Plate from '87. Okay. And this is actually the full race. I know you sent me a clip of it. Well, Mike Ellsworth Thankfully, Mike Ellsworth's the man. He gives me anything I need.
Yeah.
I swear that guy has everything. But this is him in the governor's plate, so I can pop this up here. We actually end up getting muted when it's on. So yeah, we'll take a look at it and then come back and kind of talk about it a little bit. So it's coming up right now. Governor's plate, 1987.
Number 8, and leaving from the back here this year, we'll see a 4-year-old son of Strikeout from the Dam High Exception. As a 2-year-old, he paced to his current race record of 56-3. In his last start at Blue Bonnets just 5 days ago now, he won in 159-2 on a track rated only good. He has won 8 of 26 starts this year. Owned by Jerry Cito, Elliot Cervella, and Dolert Desermo of Quebec. The Blue Bonnets Invader has Boyce McPhail catch driving. Number 8 is Crooked Tree. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the 8 entries in this year's running of the Governor's Plate. We wish the owners and drivers good luck. Race number 12, the Governor's Plate for $5,000 has 1 Ball McGee Breeze, 2 Spike It Hot, 3 Steve B Down, 4 Tiny Point, 5 is Mountain Swinger, the outside 6 Photographer, fillers are 7 the Paper Maker, 8 Crooked Tree, 8 entries for $5,000. Here they come. They're off and pacing on the outside. Steve B Down, Ball McGee Breeze at the rail. Tiny Point driving up on the outside. And at the rail, they drive into the turn. Ball McGee Breeze on top, quickly up on the outside. Steve B Down takes over. Ball McGee Breeze at the rail, second up on the outside. Tiny Point moving on third. And at the rail now, 4th, that is the Paper Maker. 5th is Crooked Tree. They pass by the opening corner, racing into the far turn. Steve B Down on top, up on the outside. Tiny Point drives second. Ball McGee Breeze in at the rail third, going along 4th. The Paper Maker, Mountain Swinger up on the outside 5th. They were at the corner in 29 seconds. Off the turn they come. Down the lane to the halfway point. Steve B Down shows the way up front. Ball McGee Breeze up on the outside. Tiny Point drives third. And at the rail 4th, the Paper Maker. Mountain Swinger on the outside in 5. Spike It Hot. They pass the halfway point in 58-1. They're going by the 5-8 on top. That is Steve B Down. Tiny Point driving up on the outside. Ball McGee Breeze at the rail third. Coming from the back, 3 wide is Crooked Tree. They're going on by the 3 corners. Steve B Down takes them to the 7-8. Ball McGee Breeze on for second. Third now outside Tiny Point. Up along the rail, the Paper Maker. 129-2 by the 3 corners. And 1/8 of a mile left to go. Steve B Down. Ball McGee Breeze coming back on. They drive to the wire. Steve B Down. Ball McGee Breeze. Paper Maker at the line. Steve B Down. The Paper Maker. Ball McGee Breeze. Crooked Tree. Spike It Hot. Tiny Point. Mountain Swinger and Photographer.
They actually didn't give us the time for the mile on that. I watched that last night. They never told us. I think it was like 159.
Well, it was a track record, I think, at the time. I'm quite sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you that. I got the video. I'll actually email that to you if you want the whole one there.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I have like the winner's circle part of it too. So that's like, he was in a pretty tough class like that. They had some really good horses. I mean, it's obviously the Governor's Plate, but he went from like wire to wire pretty much.
Well, yeah, and especially too, like the one that was sitting park going to the quarter there, like hung around like a fair ways and stuff. Like
Paper Maker. He was pretty well known. I know by that point, 87, like I was really, really big in like 83 to like 87ish. Like Winner's Accolade was my hero. Well, okay. I'll actually quickly show you something here real quick, and then we'll talk. This is my hero here. That's Scotch Gorman Trophy from '76. The
Oh,
Alexander
that's
horse.
awesome.
Yeah. Bill Nicholson Jr. gave me that, which was awesome. And
Yeah.
Scotch Gorman was like, there's a painting. They have a painting of this horse in my family. So, but Winter Exactly was big. But yeah, like I watched that race. I mean, and I'll show you something else, which is really cool. I found this last night. That's him winning the anniversary race in Fredericton the same year. Yeah, with the same horse, Stevie Down. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, like I remember Stevie Down, like he was one of I'd say probably his top 5 or 6 that he conditioned and everything and drove as well and stuff.
Yeah, he was a really good horse from what I've known. I went through like last time. I was actually trying to find the article for this Governor's Plate. I didn't find it, but I found the Fredericton one. And I also looked for the CBC thing for you mentioned. And that one's just
Well, like that one, like I'm not sure if it was that Governor's Plate or if it was some other race. I remember he got asked like what his plan was in the race by the reporter, and he just said he was going to keep turning left and see what happens.
That's all. That's great.
Yeah,
that's
like
great.
pretty well an all-time interview response by any standard. Like
that's fantastic. Yes. That might have been the gold. It probably was the Gold Cup. I would imagine that was what it probably would have been. Because I remember reading some articles last night, and they were talking about Milton like really wanting that Gold Cup win, and he thought he'd get with Stevie Down. I don't know if '87 did he win the Gold Cup? I'm not sure if he did or not.
I don't believe he did. No, I know that Christopher C. Down in the Gold Cup, and I think he might have been second or third there or something. But I think Steve Mahar was driving him.
Yeah. I got a few pictures here that you sent me there, so let's go through these real quick.
Yeah,
that's you and your father there. So when was that? Was pretty recent, I imagine, taken there.
Yeah, so that was actually, if I'm not mistaken, that might have been like one of the first times that we drove against each other.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So how'd that go?
Well, I ended up getting parked, and then I finished a distant 5th, and then he sucked along the rail and got a 2nd. So it was kind of one of those experience prevailed now, I dare say.
I heard a story about, I'm not going to mention the name, but I heard a story of it was two family members, and the older family member and the very younger family member raced in the same race, and the older one parked on the entire race. I think it was either like his first or second race, and he just parked him the whole time. Just like,
that's funny.
Yeah, just almost like ribbing him the whole time, which is pretty funny here. So there's another horse. What horse is that there?
So that's KD Overdrive. So that's the one that Dad owns right now, and that's kind of like he's kind of in like a semi-retirement right now, where he just has he has the old horse there, and then he has a couple others that he still trains for the Downies and everything. But this kind of his guy here. So
right on.
Yeah.
So I got that one, and there's another one. I think that's you and him there. That's you on the bike.
Yeah.
Same horse.
Yeah, same horse. We just over in Summerside there and stuff. And
right on. So have you driven in like Charlottetown, or where have you driven at? What tracks?
So I've driven at pretty well them all except for North Sydney and Inverness.
Okay.
Just there's always been something, whether it's been going over for Old Home Week or going over like in between like EPR meets and everything, or if like I've been over to Truro a few times there and stuff as well. So
nice. So do you have a specific track you like the best to race on?
I'd say probably, and if it leads into the next video or whatever, probably Woodstock would be my favorite track there.
Yeah, we could definitely lead into that.
Just like it's like there's nothing like it. I remember it was my first year that I was driving, and Dad was telling me like a couple months in advance. He's like if you're able to, if you can get off work and stuff, if everybody's going up there, like make sure that you make it to Woodstock, because it's a really cool experience. And you go from your first few times like driving in St. John and everything, and like as we all know, like the crowd's kind of dwindling. There's not really a whole lot going on, like aside from a few railbirds there and stuff. But you get up to Woodstock, and there's it seems like a couple thousand people in the grandstand, and nice. like you're going by, and there's like families like holding their kids up to like take a picture in front of the horse and everything. And yeah.
Did they have anything this year? I thought they had did they race this year at all in Woodstock? I thought they had one card, or they were going to maybe.
Yeah, they were supposed to, and then it ended up being canceled just because of COVID. It wasn't like the fact that they didn't want to race in Woodstock specifically. I think it had to do with like the fair itself wasn't running.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So yeah, I'll show one more picture of you, and then I'll bring up that Woodstock video there. This is you and
Yeah.
your dad. You're pretty young here. I'm like,
Yeah, and I'll give you 10 points if you can guess what horse that is.
yeah, I'm not gonna. I won't know. I would do my CB down.
Camfella.
Oh, Camfella. Okay, I have heard of
Yeah.
Camfella. Yeah, yeah.
So that was when he was on that tour there. I think it was around 96 or 97 in there, and Dad ended up having him at the farm for a few days
Nice.
Out of Milton's old place, and then he actually was able to take him behind the gate in that like little fun race that they were doing, like to promote his tour and stuff. So
very cool. Very
yeah.
cool. That's awesome. All right, so let's get into Woodstock. Make sure I get the right one here. I actually have a really fun video for you later. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. It is racing related. It is your farm
Okay.
related, but we'll bring that up a little bit later. So this is an Ultimate Handsome. This is the horse from Woodstock.
Yeah, it was. So like so back when I first got started there and everything, like I was doing a bit of work for like for my mother Dawn and then her partner Sifwa, and like I was kind of like getting my start on him and the Flying Nun, and he was just racing really really good like this like around this stretch and everything. So
Super. What's the date on this one? I think it's actually right on there. I'd imagine it's like 2019. I think.
yeah, this was my first year driving here.
Super. Right on. Yeah, we'll bring it up right now. Ultimate Handsome from Woodstock.
There they go, off and pacing, firing from the outside. Dirty Devil in between pacers, Ultimately Handsome. From the cones, Magical Alex stacks them up 3 wide round the first turn. Magical Alex on the inside, and Andy Arrington, they've got the front, and they might want to keep it out of the first turn. It's a battle onto the opening quarter. That's Ultimately Handsome on the outside. And Kyle Mason, they want the front. They take the front en route to the opening quarter. Ultimately Handsome had them there 28-1 by the opening quarter. Ultimately Handsome in command. Magical Alex stung him away. He'll now sit on the leader's back. Right there third, that's Dirty Devil. Then Creature finds himself in fourth. Skippy can see them all, but he's only 5 back as the horses come in front of the fans the first time. This is Ultimately Handsome and Kyle Mason. They are halfway home the leader. Ultimately Handsome had them there 59-1, 31-second breather in the second quarter. Ultimately Handsome shows the way. Magical Alex right there in second. Dirty Devil working hard on the outside. He now takes over second. Creature will follow him as the horses go on down the backside. Ultimately Handsome gets a tap on the tail. His lead is out to 2 lengths. Dirty Devil in the center of the track is second. Creature on the outside's battling with Magical Alex for third. They went by 3 quarters. 127 and 4. Ultimately Handsome. He's opened up by 5. Dirty Devil on the inside second. Creature on the outside third, top of the stretch. Ultimately Handsome shows the way home for Kyle Mason. Creature has second, but it's all Ultimately Handsome at Connell Park. Creature got the deuce. Dirty Devil was third. Time for the mile. Fastest of the night. 1:57-1.
That's impressive. That's very impressive. Yeah.
For over Woodstock, yeah.
Yeah. And that's a really cool environment look. And it's almost a little bit of old school. I've seen some of them island tracks that were like back in like videos. I actually got a video of PEI from the 60s from a guy who worked at CBC, and I'm pretty sure I got him in a lodge hole for sending me that video because they charge like it's $100 for like every 10 minutes they send you. And he sent me like a 45-minute documentary on PEI hardest racing from it was actually from the 60s. Yeah. And Joe Hennessy, Wally's father, was in it. And I got it, and I can't. But anyway, they showed the old tracks, and that seems similar to like the old school tracks, the way it's laid out. But you got all the fans, you got the lights. It looks really cool, yeah.
Well, and even still, it's like you think about like the old tracks and everything. Like I remember like hearing stories from Dad and everybody else around the barn and stuff about like what EPR was like back in the day, and even Mom's told me like a pile of stories like that and stuff. And like you go to Charlottetown, you go to Summerside, like it almost feels like you're going to to play soccer at like a really nice, like brand new turf field. It's got everything's all lit up and stuff, and everything's new and shiny and stuff. But then like you go up to Woodstock and it makes you think of like the old school, like they turned the lights on later for the Kelty Burnett, and like half the lights weren't even working and stuff. Like you're watching from the first turn, like way over on the far side, and like the horses disappear for a little bit and then they come back and then they disappear again, and then you can see them on the back stretch going again. So
the EPR thing, I was actually telling someone today, because I'm obsessive over the 70s and 80s. Like I said, I came in the 80s. I came in when it was a downtime, but to me it was still like Provincial Cup weekend, like exhibition week. They'd race Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I think they had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They had Thursday off. They had the Provincial Cup Friday, and then they had 2 races on Saturday. Doubleheader on Saturday, and it was packed. It was packed. I mean, the 70s in EPR, and your father confesses he was down there. They were betting 110,000 on Saturdays and like 85,000 on Wednesdays,
which is ridiculous to think about. Just as your basic benchmark and stuff, but at the same time too, it's also, you look at back in the day, like that was the show in town. Like they're like now, like nowadays and everything, like there's such a big like disconnect of like everybody wants to consume entertainment constantly, so they're like, well, instead of going to the track and waiting for 15 minutes between each race, I'm going to go to the movies instead. I'm going to go to a hockey game, or like I'm going to stay home and watch Netflix or something. Like there's a lot of competition for people's free time now.
I brought my buddy down one day. I was actually going down, and he's never been to the races before. He didn't even know about them. So I said I got to drive down. I was getting some tapes from Brian Foster, so I went down and we watched the race, and I said, let's go. I was like, oh, wait, let's stick around. Like, he got into it. Like, he kind of started, that's the thing. And we'll get into the next subject real quick here, but as we're on this topic, I think for like harness racing, it's really just bringing people in and saying, check this out. It's kind of fun. It's like, I've heard, it's almost like the baseball theory. I've heard people say to me, I don't like baseball, but I can watch it live. And I find with harness racing, that's a big thing. Like, some people watch on TV and go, oh, it's kind of dry. But if they watch it live, they're like, wow, this is a really cool environment. It's got all the people around and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, this weekend, you guys have 11 races on Saturday, which is impressive.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff going on, too. Like they're doing everything for Untouchable One to promote like the rescue side of things and everything. And even still, like, it's something like I say to people all the time, like, we're, as participants or as like people in the industry, we're our best form of marketing. I mean, like if you're saying to yourself, like throughout the week, or even like on a race day, like I try to challenge myself, like even if I'm not driving, or I'm just like at the races or something like that, like I try to challenge myself to like have an interaction with somebody that might actually want to make them come back. So like whether it's like you're going by on the back stretch in Summerside for the post parade, and somebody's hanging over the fence, and you just kind of look over to them and say, hey, how's it going? Thanks for coming out, kind of thing. Like if you slow your horse down for that parent that wants to get a picture with their kid or something, like even it could be as simple as like if somebody's looking for a suggestion of what to do, saying, hey, like come with me to Charlottetown tonight. We'll go have a beer at the track for an hour and bet on a couple races. Like it's yeah,
and that's the thing. I mean, even like for the gold, my buddy, like he's going through some, like personally, so he's hanging out with me a lot, kind of getting his mind off it. And like I was watching Old Home Week here all week, and he's like, man, this is good stuff. I'm like, I told, like, I think, I still think, like you were saying, almost what you were saying, there's a long way to go, but I still think it's a little positive. It's, promoting, telling people about it. But so the next question I have for you is, do you remember the first horse you drove? What the name of the first horse you drove was?
First horse that I ever drove in a race was Racklin Fine Line in the amateur in St. John.
Okay, cool. How'd you make out?
I think I might have finished third or something. I'm not too sure.
Right on. So I'm gonna go ahead and like give you the little video. You know about this video, and it's a famous video. You asked about it on the EPR page, and you know where I'm going with this one.
Yeah,
this is from 19. It's 85 because my father's actually in this race, so he's still there. My father leaves EPR in June of 85, and I'm not gonna give anything away. I'm gonna play it. Whoever's watching, we get some decent viewers, so not everybody's gonna know, and we'll talk about this when we come back. But it's amusing. Let's just put it that way. So here it is.
Quarters 136 and 1, the mile 208 and 4. Doyle Casey, Jam, Jill Barrio. Brother Smoothie with Marcel Barrio, Marywood Lee with Clark Smith, Jill Mack, Randy Phillips, Sip Along Antelope, Stan Nelson, Taverns, Dan Walling, Hennessy, Rustly Master, Steve Mason, the trailer is Adios Julie with Terry Bernard, and here they come. Clear off Brother Smoothie. Goes quickly to the top, and then from the far outside, Rustly Masters driving up wide. Out of the turn, Brother Smoothie. Jill Mack is now second. Casey Jam third. Jill Mack is now the leader as they go racing by the eighth, and she shows the way up the backstretch. Jill Mack has moved out now by 2 lengths. Then that's Rustly Master in trouble. The inquiry sign going up, quarter 34 and 3. Racing around the top turn, pacing on top, but it's Jill Mack. Jill Mack and Brother Smoothie racing second. KC Jam is third. Marywood Lee outside driving fourth. Legitimate Power, he is fifth. Then on the reel, coming up on the outside, it is Sip Along Antelope. Then it's Adios Julie and Taverns Dan trailing as they go racing up by the half, and Jill Mack, she is the leader. Jill Mack on top, the half in 103 and 3. They swing around the lower turn, racing to the 5/8. Jill Mack is pacing on top, and Brother Smoothie has a second. That's Marywood Lee outside driving on to third. They spring up the backstretch now, go on to the 3/4. Jill Mack and Brother Smoothie, Marywood Lee is third. Casey Jam is fourth. Sip Along Antelope, Legitimate Power, Taverns, Dan, Adios Julie, and they are by the 3/4. 135 and 2, and that is Brother Smoothie. Now pacing to the top, Brother Smoothie and Jill Mack racing a second. Casey Jam is now third. Marywood Lee on the outside racing a fourth. Sip Along Antelope fifth. Legitimate Power, Taverns, Dan, Adios Julie swinging home. It is Brother Smoothie. Then Jill Mack and Marywood Lee and Legitimate Power up on the outside, and here they are to the wire. Brother Smoothie, Marywood Lee, Legitimate Power, Casey Jam. Time for the mile, 2:06 and 3. And parading now the winner of the third race, number 3, Brother Smoothie, Chestnut Horse 8 by Kessler Hanover. From I'm Smoothie Wick, going by Orville Willis O'Leary, Prince Edward Island, trained and driven by Marcel Barrio. Your winner in 2:06 and 3. Well, you're wondering what happened to Rustly Master. We're going to show you there. He went right through the big white fence, right through out onto the Golden Grove Road. And the result of the third race.
I'm sorry. Before I go any further, I knew that everyone was okay, right? Your father was okay. So I mean, if someone got hurt, I would not be laughing. But I'll tell you quickly what I heard about that, and then I'll let you tell your part of it because you know more than I do.
Yeah.
I was real close to my grandfather, and that was a Wednesday night. It was definitely in 85, maybe even 84. I remember my grandfather telling me that story, and even at like 6 or 7 years old, I'm thinking, there's no way. He's full of crap. Like, I don't want to swear on the air. He's full of it. There's no way that happened. So I get this tape. This is the first tape I ever converted of EPR. It's the first one I ever did. And I get it from Brian Foster, and I watch it and think, oh my God, it really happened. I can't believe it actually happened.
Yeah,
so
it's always like urban legend almost. Like,
yeah, so like your dad's driving the horse. So did your dad tell you the story about it?
Yeah, so he, from what I've gathered from him, he basically, the horse was bearing out, and then he went through the fence, and then he drove the horse back in through Golden Grove Road and went in the back gate. I guess that's what he's always told me.
So like, because you see the race, I watched it again. You can see him veering towards the fence. Like,
well, even like as soon as the wings folded on the gate, you can see that the horse had his head cocked sideways and didn't really want to go into the turn. Almost like he was.
Yeah. So Brian Foster, his father told me. I think your father said to him when he goes to the fence, a part of the fence your father had to duck because it was like coming towards his head. It's just like, my God, that's insanity. And the funny thing with that race is my father's actually in that race. He's in the last. I find it amusing him at the end, like bringing the whip and like, listen, dude, you've been last the whole race. Who are you trying to fool here? Like, just go along with it. But that's one of the urban legends of EPR. I actually have a friend, and I was talking to her about it, and her son was here. He's like, there's no way. And I remember trying to find this race, and I couldn't find the tape. I knew what one was on. But the way I did find it is I actually commented on the video and said, this is the time it happened on. But talk about like one of the weirdest things, and the funniest thing I found about it is Ingham, because he just stops. Like, it's almost
and especially like he stops as if to basically say, what the heck's going on here? And then you just hear him say, man, Rusty Masters is in trouble down there.
Yeah. It's wild because like you could hear someone in the background go, oh, like you could hear someone like go like, what this world is happening here? But that's we can kind of veer into that a little bit. Like we talk about like accidents and stuff. Is that something like, obviously I've never raced horses before. I've seen tons of accidents. Like I don't want to like freak out, but have you ever been in any bad accidents? Are they,
there hasn't been anything crazy that I've ever been into myself. Like I've had like a couple times at the farm here in Moncton. Like I was going down to jog a horse, and one of them decided that they were going to lay down just on the ramp going down and stuff. But it's more of okay, why are you laying on the ground as opposed like when you're walking, as opposed to going like full tilt and everything. But I mean, even like I know that like Dad's been in his fair share and stuff, and I've seen a couple of them in person, and that was also something that kind of made me maybe hesitate a little bit to go for the license. And I was like convincing myself for the longest time, like through my degree and everything, like, oh, like, yeah, I like the training side and stuff. And then like it only got to after I was out of university and stuff that I kind of started to get the bug to drive. And then I also wanted, like, I had a goal in mind that I wanted to be able to drive against Dad, like before he retired. And then I also wanted to drive for him as well. So
yeah. And I mean, I think now, like back then, that hub rail is like death trap. That old hub rail they had around like the guardrail. Now with the pylons, you have like what is it, the emergency lane, basically the little spot you guys are going if you're in trouble.
Yeah, but again, at the same time, even though we do have that, like everybody kind of drives to the conditions. Like I know there's a couple tracks out west right now. I think Century Downs still has a hub rail.
Oh, really? Wow.
And everything, if I'm not mistaken, because I know they have it for the thoroughbreds there and stuff. But yeah, it's still a matter of still being sharp and making sure that you're in control and stuff.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's a very dangerous sport. I mean, I don't want to bring up any horrors. I mean, I'll say my first memory of anything was Willard Carr. You've obviously must have heard of Willard Carr before.
Yeah,
old gentleman. It was in '85. It was the actual the day of the Alexander Memorial, and it was really bad. He got in the back turn. He flew off his horse. He looked like a rag doll flying into the guardrail. It was brutal. Poor guy. He survived, but he was never the same, unfortunately. And so yeah, it's definitely dangerous. I mean, and I just like to see, like, I hate seeing accidents. And when I was a kid, I was a weirdo. I liked them as a kid for some reason. I don't know why. I was a bit strange as a kid, but I hate seeing them now. Even when I record tapes, I always try not to see them because I don't like seeing them. It's just, it's not a pretty sight. So yeah, we kind of touched base. I was going to mention about the future of harness racing, but we kind of touched on it a little bit. I mean, I've seen, like, I was out of it for a long time. I mean, I always respected it. My family's been involved, but I hadn't gone to the track in years. The reason I found out they were even running at EPR is I was actually working over in a place by Park Mountain. I looked outside. I said, "Oh, look, there's horses racing. I can't believe they're still racing." What do you think about the future? You think could be saved?
I think a lot of it's just like everybody's, like, at least to me, I feel like everybody's kind of biting off more than they can chew with it right now, and saying, "Oh, like in order to succeed, we need to have a facility like PEI, or we need to have like this many people. We need to have like everything like all like aligned right away." But as far as attracting people and everything, like your first step's taking what you have and trying to build an atmosphere around that. So like, especially like obviously like in the summer we're racing like we don't have a grandstand currently, but like doing different things to get people out, whether it's reaching out to businesses, whether it's like engaging with the patrons that are coming, maybe trying to like contact some other businesses and stuff. Like, I think that that's going to be the first step to get everybody back in on board. And I think that also too, the biggest thing that we need to do is leverage youth as much as we can, because like even going over to Summerside, like I've been there a few times, like there early for the races, going over to the grandstand to get a bite to eat, and the average age of everybody who's in the grandstands about probably like 55 or 60 or older kind of thing. So it's like, in order to get that second wave of like younger people coming through to kind of carry things on and stuff, and we're seeing a lot of it right now, like with like some new like younger guys coming in to drive and everything, and even to like Charlottetown's doing a really good job of that. Like they've involved UPEI like on the university side of things, like a little bit, where they've had like they've hosted like all the athletes there, or like they'll have like different like student nights or anything, and they try and like gear it towards that. So I think that if we can kind of combine that and just sort of go with those sort of ideas, but then using the infrastructure we have, I think that things could be pretty good in St. John.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, again, like I said, I started coming back around. I got right back into it right away. I went down one day and I was like, boom. And I brought people down, friends of mine, and they like it. Like, I mean, you know, my buddy made a comment. We went down one time, another one friend of mine, he's like, I thought this was a flea market. I'm like,
well, yeah, I know exactly. Yeah.
It's like, I didn't know this was
even the other side of it too is just actually getting people there. Like even earlier this year, like I was talking to a few friends of mine from St. John, and they said, hey, I'm driving a couple of races, like come down, check it out or whatever and stuff. Just kind of guys I hadn't really seen in a while because of COVID and everything. And like they came to the races that day, and then they've come like another 3 times this summer and stuff, and like try to create like a whole experience of it, like to say, hey, like, okay, I'm in the 5th race, they're all done after the 6th, so here, pop over to the barn, like say hi to Dad and I, like here, like you can actually like see and like touch and everything, like the horse that was actually out in the race that you just watched, and it kind of brings things full circle and everything.
Yeah, definitely.
And it shows a little bit more of a like a human side of it too, where like you get to see like and interact with the horses too and stuff.
Yeah, that's they used to scare me a little bit when I was a kid, because I've seen some pretty crazy things, but some of them were real sweet. I seen one of the like I almost seen a girl get her finger taken off once by a horse, but the horse thought her finger was a carrot. Legit, she was feeding the horse, and the horse just stopped, kept eating, and the carrot was gone, and her finger was the next thing that went into his mouth. And but. So yeah, so basically, I'm going to finish it off here with one more thing. We got one more race for you. This is Katie Overdrive. I think this is 2020. So bring this up. I'm going to actually, for this one, Don Ferguson, I'm going to give him a thank you. This is actually his video. I don't want to not thank people. I think we talked about this yesterday when I was talking on Facebook. There's a guy that runs a YouTube page that just basically steals people's videos and puts his own logo on it. And of all people, Mike Ellsworth's like the nicest human being to ever walk Earth. You can never make that guy mad. And if you mention that guy that steals his videos, he will flip out. He hates this guy. Me and this guy, he took one of my videos, and I not Mike, this guy did, and I told him pretty much I don't think so, and that was the end of that. But yeah, so this is Katie Overdrive, and we're gonna bring this one up here now.
Side post, Jeff Lewis. From post 2, Love in Paradise, John Davidson. Katie Overdrive scores 3 in Kyle Mason. Paris Bow, Colin DeCourcy. Your 5 to the outside this time is Magical Alex and Mark Haig. 5 across the racetrack. Race 4 of the afternoon. Here they come. They're off in a quick start. Magical Alex, also Love in Paradise busts out of there. They're racing into the turn. The battle's on for the lead. Love in Paradise, Magical Alex. They're racing head-to-head, nose-to-nose. Past that opening 8th, Emperor back 3rd, then Katie Overdrive. Trailing is Paris Bow onto the quarter. Magical Alex picked up his 60th win last start, and he's on top again this week for the Hagler, and he's on top and a bit rough. That opening quarter, 28 and 4. It's Magical Alex on top. Then on the outside, Emperor has come to second. Inside, racing third, Love in Paradise. Then on the move, Paris Beau and trailing KD Overdrive. 3/8 of the mile in through the stretch to the half. Magical Alex on top. Outside, Emperor racing second. Inside third, Love and Paradise as they were halfway home in 57 and 4, and around the turn, Emperor, Magical Alex. Now Emperor on the outside. Inside, Magical Alex not giving up yet. He's retaken the lead. Emperor second. Then Paris Beau right there third. Inside, Love in Paradise fourth, trailing KD Overdrive, and Alex has rolled off stride to the 3/4. Emperor has taken the lead. 3/4 won, 29 and 3. Paris Beau now second. Then KD Overdrive, watch for him. He's third on the outside and he's making ground quickly. Then racing fourth, Love in Paradise, and eighth to go. And 3 wide, KD Overdrive all the way to the outside has grabbed the lead. Then racing second, Paris Beau. They're in deep stretch. KD Overdrive, and a patient steer by Kyle Mason, the center of the racetrack, gets it done. Paris Beau second, and in for third, Emperor. And the time for the mile, 2 minutes and 1/5. Side post.
Very nice. That was a very good race, man. Very good. Yeah.
It was a bit of a weird one, but even that was kind of a bit of a transition phase for me, just because it was only around then I was just starting to drive KD for dad and stuff, because he was essentially like, okay, great, you got your license. I'm not gonna give you drives or anything, like if you don't really know what you're doing out there and stuff. So it was kind of like, okay, now you've kind of like earned the chance to go out and drive and stuff, which was pretty special to be able to do that for him. And it was even more special to be able to like actually go out and win a race in St. John and stuff, and kind of bring things full circle that way.
So was that your first win in St. John?
I won a few times before down there, but that was my first time winning with one of Dad's horses specifically.
Oh, nice.
But
awesome.
like I remember, like I think I might have only driven him like once or twice prior or whatever. But the way that it worked out was he had a 3-year-old filly, Joe's Beauty, at the time, and she had a stake race over in Charlottetown. So then the whole thing was, okay, hey, I'll give you the chance to go drive KD if you can get him raced for me in St. John and stuff. And then just from there, like things kind of like started to roll a little bit, and it was also kind of like a transition phase where like I went from being a little bit bullheaded, trying to overdrive like in every race that I was in, to kind of looking at things, looking at classes, like kind of listening to like guidance a little bit more that way and stuff, and it's kind of paid off from there.
Yeah, and it definitely shows in that, because you're waiting for your spot. You can tell you're waiting for your spot. And that was a really like good race, because like I love stuff like that when guys are sitting back waiting. I mean, good to the guys that go to the front, but I like the strategy of waiting and picking your spot to come out is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, like don't get me wrong, like it doesn't happen very often when you're sitting second over at the going off the backside and everything, where you're thinking, okay, like I know right now that as long as he stays pacing, like I'm probably gonna get the job done or whatever and stuff. Like it doesn't happen often, but like when it does, like it feels some good when you're in the race and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, so let's just I mentioned about this Saturday. I'm gonna promote it a little bit. So this Saturday, what's going on like with Untouchable? Because I'm not completely confused by it, but what's the deal with Saturday? What they're doing there?
So everything that happened from it, I believe there's actually an article in the Telegraph Journal about it, where he raced the stakes program here for Sean Dooley, and then Cheryl Geller Greer was the breeder on him, and after that he was I think either sold at one point, like went down to the States and everything, and then kind of disappeared. Like it was very similar to what happened with that Saving Sammy that was on CTV, where eventually horse either gets sick or goes lame, or something happens with the horse where like they feel that they can be sent to the kill pen and everything, which is a really unfortunate reality in our game here right now. But thankfully it was kind of like through Facebook and everything that Cheryl was able to get the horse back and stuff, and able to rescue him and everything. So kind of like a way of promoting that option of like a proper retirement for these horses is out there.
That's awesome.
And even too, I'm not sure if you're aware, but Standard Canada has a program now called Full Circle.
Okay.
And that's it's a program where if you're like a breeder or an owner or something on a horse, like say with Katie Overdrive, if eventually he was to go to another home or something like that, like somebody could put in for the Full Circle and say, okay, when this horse is done racing, I want him back for retirement. And then Standard Canada, like through its means, would contact whoever to get the horse back to this home with the condition that the horse would race again, I guess.
Yeah. And you know, the thing is, and I'll say right at the end, they'll get right back into the EPR for Saturday. Some people don't understand harness racing think that people like it's abusing animals.
No, not at all.
Not at all. Like horses get treated like better than people. Like a lot of them get treated better than people do. And I've been around it all my whole life. And trust me, I mean, I've seen these horses get treated very well. And I know I can get where people don't see that side of it. They just think, oh, they're just racing horses. That's abuse. It's not.
Well, especially in the East Coast, I find like the East Coast, like you get there's a lot of hobby horsemen and a lot of people with smaller stables that really put like a lot of time and effort and attention into the animals. And that's not to take away from things going on at like the bigger tracks or anything like that, but especially when you get into the claiming ranks down in the States and everything. This like the animal goes from an animal to a commodity really fast, and then it's like, okay, what can I do to make a quick buck, as opposed to what can I do to promote like the longevity of the horse and like have and be able to showcase that relationship I have with the horse.
Definitely. So this weekend you're driving. How many races you're on? Is it one you're driving this week? I think I looked at the card.
Yeah, I ended up just due to classes and everything like that, like a couple that I would normally drive CFI, and then they took the horses over to Summerside on Monday. So, but again, I was still listed on two, and then I happened to end up in the same race, so I had to make the pick on one there and stuff. So
yeah. So this Saturday, what's the date? Saturday, it's September 11th, actually, 20th anniversary of that, which is crazy. And 1 p.m. So yeah, come out, people. Come on out, check it out. I mean, if you haven't been around a while, it's come out, make some bets, and everyone's gonna be there. I'll be down there. I'll actually be down there eventually. I have a few things I have to do work related wise with my side business, but I'll be down eventually during the day. 11 races, so right till 4:30, almost 5 o'clock. That's like the old days.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then for the horsemen as well, I believe they're doing some sort of potluck barbecue or whatever as well.
Awesome. Great. Well, thanks for coming on, Kyle. Appreciate it. That was really good. And
thank you for having me. I really, really appreciate what you're doing with like kind of bringing people together as far as the history of everything. It's really cool to see it. Like, especially as somebody who has always like heard all the stories and everything, like through Dad or through like any of the other like really experienced horsemen like around the barns and everything. It's cool to kind of see that all come together, and you can kind of like attach a video to that, or you can attach a photo to that and everything, and it's really nice.
Yeah, I'm really, to be real fast, I mean, when I started doing it, it was basically just to find stuff from my father. That was why I did it originally. And I got hooked on it. And then like, Steve and Twyla brought me over. I remember Steve or Twyla messaged me one night and said, I got a few tapes for you. I said, oh, great, I'll come get them. She's like, no, and she brought me over a trunk full of tapes. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So I do appreciate it. It's awesome. I'm happy everyone likes it. It's a lot of work, but I mean, it's fun. I like going and grabbing all the old articles, and I got tons of programs and stuff like that. And it only takes me, 10, 15 minutes to scan a program. But when you get all these people loving it, it's nice. It's cool. I really like doing it. So yeah. And I'm glad the younger generation enjoys it too, because it's really cool to see that.
Well, and even like I'm not sure if you're into this at all, but something that really intrigues me is like old like abandoned racetracks and everything, or like racetracks that are like now defunct and stuff. So like reading up on different places, like obviously like Montreal comes to mind, like Blue Bonnets and everything. But even when my girlfriend and I were over in Newfoundland there a couple of years back, I actually like made a point of it to like rent a car and like go out of our way to drive out to like the racetrack in St. John's, like just to see what it looked like and everything, and just be able to say that I've been there at one point. So
yeah, there's definitely been a few. Yeah, there's been a few. Yeah. So, but awesome. Well, that's great. So, Kyle, I appreciate you coming on, and good luck Saturday. I'll definitely be down there taking a look. I'll throw a couple bucks on you. So.
Thanks, Scott. I appreciate it.
All right, take care, buddy. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Just watch it. live it at Exhibition Park. Come on and live it at Exhibition Park. The real life